What's going on, guys? Jake Claver here again with the Block Biz. Today, I wanted to go over family offices, what they are, and if you need one, if you've had a digital asset liquidity event. So I myself have structured a multifamily office or a virtual family office around digital asset liquidity events. It's called Digital Ascension Group. You can see the people that are associated with that on my website, digitalfamilyoffice.io. Anyway, so let's get into it. What is a family office? A family office is basically a center point that allows you to have one contact or one company that manages the entire wealth for a family. This would include all the professionals listed here on this page that you guys can see. Would have people in wealth management that might deal in a bunch of different types of investments. You would have wealth planning, succession planning, which is estate planning, life insurance, prenups and wills. You then have another arm that might be charity or philanthropy. We talked about, well, I'll get into charity trusts and foundations on another video. We've got family governance. So these are basically the core values for your family and how you want things to be done into the future. You could have a board, a family council, a family constitution. Again, core values, how you want to do business, those types of things. It's basically a mission statement for a family. You've got trust and corporate services. These could be there's lots of different types of trust. Cook Island Trust has been a hot topic lately for a bunch of people that I've been in spaces with, but they do a lot of different things for you. So trust will hold your assets. There can be LLCs underneath the trust, holding company and other things inside there that produce income, that pay people that are the beneficiaries and trustee for the trust. You've got, corporate structures, you've got trust administration, you've got real estate management, you might have family shareholders within your family. A nominee service. A nominee service is basically somebody that steps in and puts their name on a document for an agreement with you that they'll do what you say so that you can remain anonymous and they get a paycheck from you in order to do that, and then you get the anonymity. And then we have tax planning. This is a big piece if you do have a digital asset liquidity event where you cash out, or even if you're transferring the assets into these entities, there could be tax implications depending on what country you're in. Here in the US, there's a $16 million lifetime gift tax threshold. So if you make more than that, and even if you move the assets that are in your possession into an entity or into a trust, there's a gift tax that's over that, that's pretty significant. So might think about that if you're on the front end of you expecting a digital asset liquidity event, might disperse those digital assets across multiple entities here in the US. Overseas, if you're in Canada, don't worry about it. Y'all don't have to deal with it. You can gift away. There's no tax. If you are in other countries, it's pretty substantial and there's not a threshold. So it just depends on your jurisdiction. But get with a CPA. You would like to find somebody that's in digital assets or a CFO that deals with DAOs and digital assets. I have people like that on my team that are crypto tax certified. If you want to deal with me, like I said, I built what I've created, the Digital Ascension Group, specifically for digital asset liquidity events. And all the contacts that I have in each one of these categories do really well with digital assets and have been in the space a while and understand things. So the other component that I wanted to show you guys, and on other videos, I'll go into these like specifically and kind of go over broad knowledge of each one to kind of give you a better idea of, somebody that's less than $20 million, you probably don't need a family office or a virtual family office or a multifamily office, any of those terms. I guess I'll break down which each one of those is. So around $20 million worth of net worth, you might look at a virtual family office. And that means you've got attorneys on retainer, you've got a CPA, you've got a wealth manager, you might have a financial advisor, you've probably got trust and entities set up, you have some family governance so that you make sure, as you pass it on, things are done the right way. You have an estate plan in place so that, in that trust, it funnels to the entities you want it to go to, whether that may be donating to a charity or your children in the future, or maybe other family members or anyone really. And the beauty of a trust is it doesn't have to go through probate. So there's no public record of who got what, but you'd have some estate planning. Um, you probably have some of these pieces, but you may not need everything if you're less than $20 million. When you get to the $20 million mark, you probably want to have these people on retainer so that when things need done, you've already booked the hours and they're paid and they can knock out whatever you need. And if you are less than 20 million, you're probably dealing with those discussions all yourself, right? You're not paying somebody else to handle that for you. And that's where the family office comes in. You have somebody that's a confidant you're confident with as a director at a family office that would be the centralized point that has those discussions for you that you meet with, and they can bring everything in a holistic view to you so that you understand what's going on with the investments, with your insurance, with the philanthropy, with trust and corporations. They have things in place to manage the properties that you might have. There's just a lot of moving pieces when you come into a lot of wealth and you're managing it correctly. And so having that central point where all of that stuff is filed and discussed with one entity makes it streamlined instead of being so scattered and you having to deal with all those things. And then you have a multifamily office. That would be a family office that is housed with a bunch of different professionals that handles all of these services in-house for multiple families. That's what we're building here at the Digital Ascension Group. Right now, everybody that we have is outsourced, but as we continue to progress and grow, we'll move from the virtual model into a multifamily office. And then again, that's for somebody that's around a $50 million net worth. It normally costs between 0.5% and 2% of your net worth to operate a family office every year, just with paying all these professionals to make sure that you're making money with your money and managing it correctly. And the benefit here is, well, what I normally tell people is if you had $1 million, let's say you had $1 million and you make a 5% mistake, well, that's 50,000, and that stings and it's not fun. But it's a car. You lost a car that you could have bought. If you make a 5% mistake with $100 million or $50 million, you're looking at 2.5 mil for the $50 million. Like that could have funded one of these family offices for multiple years and ensured that you made more money on your money and that you didn't make that mistake, right? So that's the benefit. The higher the threshold your net worth goes, the more beneficial it is to have all of this in place. And then you might have a single family office. A single family office starts to make sense when you're over $100 million net worth. You can bring all these professionals in-house to your family office that you create and pay them, and they work exclusively for you and your family. People that do this would be somebody that, well, traditionally outside of digital assets, it's been somebody that's created a company and exited that company, sold it off, IPO'd, done one of those things in order to generate, over $100 million net worth. And then along the way, and this is the other piece that's much different than digital assets. When you're building a company like that, it normally takes a decade or two. And during that duration, you probably run into a bunch of these professionals over the years. You've had friends that would recommend somebody. And so just by proxy, they deal with high net worth individuals. And so you probably already have your team built out by the time you really do want to exit and start using your money to make money instead of running your business. Whereas with digital assets, they're more like a lottery ticket winner, right? You might work a 9 to 5, and then you put some money in this thing and it goes up 100x or 1,000x, boom, overnight, and you make all this money. And you don't have these connections, right? You don't know where to go. You don't know what to do. You never managed this much money before. You didn't have to climb the ladder that somebody building a business would. And that's not good or bad. I'm just stating how it is, right? And so that's my goal, is to help people that come into that situation, make sure that they maintain their wealth long term and don't go bankrupt like most lottery winners do within 2 to 5 years. So after all that, I'll try to get into this other piece. So I'm very progressive. Like I said, Digital Ascension Group is specific for digital asset liquidity events. And we've partnered with iPaladin. They are a blockchain backbone that allows all of these professionals to connect through one platform, and it's logged on blockchain. So it's centralized. It's a private blockchain. They use very secure servers at AWS. We're trying to migrate them to Filecoin. We'll see what happens. But as we go with that, it just makes things simple, right? So if you need access to forms for an entity or a tax return, or there's some he said, she said, and there's a bottleneck in your business somewhere, if everything is through a secure single platform, it's easy to identify where those things are and fix them. And it's also easy to access all those documents in one place. And it's logged on blockchain. So what could be more progressive than that? Long term, they do have the capability of interoperability with other blockchains. And so we'll see where that goes. But I really like what they built. This SaaS platform here is fantastic. And it's malleable. It can be customized for each individual in their family office and their individuals that they want. And so I'll talk on that topic. There may be some people that want to work with me that have come into that money through digital assets that already have advisors in place. They've already got a CPA. They might have a wealth manager that they've used for years. And they invested in specific digital assets and came into a lot of money. And now they want other people that are competent in that area, because traditional CPAs or wealth advisors or even attorneys may not have dealt specifically with crypto, but you want to keep those people on board because they've taken care of you. So they can integrate right with this platform. There's no issue. We just fill in the gaps. We bring in the other professionals in the other areas that you might need. And again, they're competent with digital assets, and so they fill the gaps for you, and you can continue with your traditional investments as well as utilizing and leveraging the digital assets and the wealth that you created through there. So they had a great little video on their website that I'll play for you guys. It's a little over a minute, but I thought it was pretty insightful as well.
70% of the global GDP is controlled by family offices. Ensuring that their information is secure, accessible, and transparent has never been important. The iPaladin platform secures and centralizes vital family office activities and monuments, empowering professionals and their clients in a way that was not previously possible by transforming this chaotic, manual, complex environment into a digitized and streamlined. In fact, iPaladin enables the family office member to experience an instant efficiency of 40 to 50%, which helps create financial opportunities, ensure compliance, and avoid risk. We offer peace of mind as the family's legacy is contained, secure, and available to support the next 100+ years. What is iPaladin? We are the only system that allows the entire digital family office community to coordinate and collaborate around a family's wealth in real time, informing the preference of the company for your family. Join our community today and let our family.
So like I said, I think they're great. And that's the other aspect of a family office. When you're creating one of these things, you're doing it to preserve long-term wealth for you and your family for generations to come. And most people create a family office like the Rockefellers or other very wealthy individuals, so that they can have specific rules in place that ensure that wealth transcends 2 or 3 generations. A lot of these people are looking at maybe at least 5 generations that they want to maintain their wealth through. And so 100 years, if every generation was 20 years old when they had another child. I know that's not the norm today here in the US, but traditionally that's kind of what a generation is, every 20 years. They're looking at 5 generations, and you want to be adaptable. You want to be able to change, and this is very progressive, this technology, and it'll allow you to be interoperable with other family offices in the future. Project that I'm working on as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, just wanted to bring y'all the thoughts and why you might want to structure a family office if you had a large liquidity event, either in crypto or selling your business, and what each one of those components was. And in the future videos, I'll go into what each of one of these entails in more specific detail. But I appreciate y'all for joining me as always, and we'll see y'all on the next one.